Jesse, we just finished watching WWE's NXT TakeOver San Antonio. First of all, before we, without spoiling anything, do you think it was a good event?
Yeah, had some decent matches, and after the bullshit was the UK Championship, it was a nice change of pace. Seeing some actual gimmicks for once.
So, we're going to go from the beginning. We're going to work our way through the program, and we'll see if this has any bearing on the WWE Royal Rumble of 2017. So, we're going to start with Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10, versus Eric Young of Sanity. First of all, I thought that when Ty Dillinger came out, he had a really lame collar, and you said the same thing. I don't like Ty Dillinger. I don't know, that match, and once again, I suppose it's strange seeing EY in this capacity where it's supposed to be unhinged heel that's trying to be really mean, and it's just having seen him in TNA, it's just I don't know.
It doesn't quite work. His previous gimmicks are very far apart from what he is in NXT.
So it
will,
will,
especially since it's just decay.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Sanity is just decay. I mean, it's bad enough when WWE seems to take TNA's talent, but now they're taking their storylines and gimmicks. So it's just anyway.
I mean, they did the same thing with Abyss and Kane.
Yeah, well,
last year.
Sanity actually intervened, and they would hit Ty when he was outside the ring. I really liked EY's impressive right hand, which he dropped on Ty. Well, it dropped Ty and made him fall to the ground. But I think you made this comment, and we'll get into some of this logic later into the evening as well with another match. But Ty Dillinger should have been disqualified when Sanity entered. Well, the whole match should have been called off, and Ty would have won by disqualification. But as soon as
the only way I can see this as not being the case is because he attacked the interfering parties and it wasn't really around. But even so, there were foreign bodies in the ring. And, that shouldn't happen.
There was the neck breaker by EY, which would end the match. Chose the wrong angle to show that one in the replay. But that.
I mean, that's a running theme.
Yes.
For the entire event, really.
Camera work of the entire event really needs to be worked on, because as far as just seeing a bunch of moves, and when they would do the replay, they would choose the worst angles to show them from, or even during the matches, they would just. I wish they had better camera sense, because it was just some of them, you took really cool things and made them look weak. Those 10 chants also need to stop. How it was just 10, 10, 10, 10. I'm over this.
I saw it a lot in the UK event as well. It seems to be a new thing of people just shouting 10 whenever they do the 10 count out.
Ah, jeez. But yeah, that was that much. Nothing stood out really. I mean, it wasn't. You know what? It wasn't awful, but it was a little less than mediocre as well.
That perfect 10 guy, he's just the shittiest Miz.
He really is.
And the Miz is pretty shitty. So
And we made this comment about how we must be getting old or times must be changing, because back in the day, Ty Dillinger would be the heel.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that fucking Rick the Model Martel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just him. Not being arrogant is cool now, so I guess it's fine. And so EY, the nicest person on the roster.
Yeah.
Well, he's now a fucking heel because he's unstable because his previous job was.
Oh man. So our next
reference TNA and then explicitly ignore TNA's existence.
I think WWE has a real problem building talent, and I know this is a little off topic, but it seems that everyone that becomes popular in WWE was established elsewhere, and every time WWE tries to build someone up and make homegrown talent, they're never as popular as the people that come from other places. And so WWE's answer to that is, okay, well, we'll just bring in other people from other places, and we'll try and elevate our talent, which never works, and they just kind of stick around.
I feel like because WWE's always been just everyone else's best people they've bought.
Yep.
Like, they've never actually, like, what they have, like, the two people that they've made themselves is John Cena and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And they've been doing well. The problem is they push their own talent too much, so they don't let any people that are naturally over beat over. They always try to control it.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why the UK one worked so well, is because they couldn't control it.
And
They got their sticky little hands in it.
we did see Tyler Bate in the audience as well, which was. I found myself surprised at how excited I was to see him there, just in the audience. I was like, oh, that's super cool he's there.
Yeah, Tyler Bate's amazing. And why?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why, but he's like really exciting. So we had
He's over, which is amazing.
next. We had the two. Once again, speaking of outside talent, we had Andrade Cien Almas, who used to be Sombra down in Mexico. So CMLL versus Ring of Honor's Roderick Strong. This match was weird. I feel like it was a average match, maybe even good. Like, I feel like the competitors both were very skilled at their craft, but at the same point, I felt nothing for it. There was no emotional attachment. There was like, I felt like really.
Sombra's gimmick was stronger, but even then, it only showed up at the start.
Yeah.
And sort of, as it went on, it was sort of like, we gotta find stuff to do.
And that's pretty much it. Like, I mean, there was a couple of things, like when Andrade Cien Almas ran to the end, like he put him in the corner and then he ran up to him and stopped and just screamed at him and then slapped him when he looked up. That was just like, okay, fair enough. There was, as the commentary made note of, Roderick's backbreakers they always looked pretty effective, and the most effective one I thought was when he was fuck yeah. So there was a couple of times that the commentary just misannounced names of moves, and it's just like, I don't claim to be the most savvy when it comes to wrestling techniques and terminology, but if I know that something's wrong, yeah, exactly. But
everyone can be Taz.
Yeah, not everyone can be Taz. I feel like Roderick himself wasn't bad. It's just not impressive, if that makes any sense. And especially when we had...
His gimmick isn't strong enough, especially for like NXT, WWE sort of thing.
But I'm sure all the, Ring of Honor fans were happy to see him there.
All 10 of them.
And when Roderick got the win, I'm sure they were pleased with that. So, yeah.
I would have preferred the other guy to win because I liked him more, but
Yeah.
Roderick just looks like he was like a stepdad.
So our next match was the NXT Tag Team Champion match. So that was the Authors of Pain versus #DIY. Also, including a hashtag in your name is the easiest way to get heat with me, because I fucking hate that. So, I mean, in future...
Maybe we're just old, Stuart.
Maybe we're just old. I mean, yeah, I feel like we are. So, the observations that I made during the match, and I'd like to throw a couple of things out to you. Because I feel that the Authors of Pain can only go so far in terms of like a tag team, and individually I don't see them shining at all. So it's like...
No. Well, the thing is, compared to DIY, I actually liked him a lot more in this match.
Yeah. And
I think it's just because their manager, and just because they have that. Oh, remember back in the day they had these really cool,
like the Legion
really
of Doom,
cool,
yeah,
heel things like fucking Demolition and LOD. Remember those guys?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, in terms of capability, do you think that? We'll start with because, and correct me if I'm wrong. You feel that Demolition is better than the Road Warriors, and that's just a personal opinion of yours. I'm not sure if that...
See, the reason why I think that is because I never saw, WCW or all their previous stuff before WWF. So I was introduced to Demolition first,
yep,
and then I saw LOD. So I was like, who are these fucking Demolition ripoffs? And little did I know that I was clearly wrong. But,
And they used to be the longest running WWE Tag Team Champs as well. So, I mean, you still have a... you could stake that claim before...
Yeah, I think I mostly just say that just to piss off...
Piss off Ryan or Macca, yeah.
It's
Um,
hilarious how I'm upset they get about it.
so if we were to go from the big three that they make the comparison of back in the day, the lowest on the rung would be Powers of Pain. Then I feel like it would be Demolition, not in terms of like bad or anything, but it would just go Demolition and then Road Warriors in terms of like
Yeah.
tag
Now
teams.
I've seen the Road Warriors before they were the fucking LOD. I was like, oh shit.
So, do you think that if given enough time and care, the Authors of Pain could be the Powers of Pain or better?
I feel like, whatever the case, they're better than fucking Ascension.
The Who? I mean, oh my goodness, they're like fucking so gone. Like every now and again they show up and you're just like, oh yeah, you guys, you
I feel like
exist.
it's like, well, like Triple H was like, I can make a better fucking Powers of Pain than you can, Vince McMahon.
And
He was right.
so
Like they're enjoyable enough to watch. I don't mind seeing a match by them. They'd be good if they had an opponent I cared about. It'd be more interesting.
would the Authors of Pain be able to ever match up to Demolition?
Yeah, the thing with Demolition is you don't need to be that skilled to match up with Demolition. You just need to have the gimmick. And I feel like if they get the right manager and they get the right push going, they could probably get there.
Now,
not by themselves, but if they had like some sort of outside help. Like, you know, they need a Mr. Fuji.
At risk of providing you gasoline to put on yourself for the oncoming flame war that would be heading your way if you answered this in a certain way, do you think that they could ever match up to the Road Warriors?
Not in terms of sheer overness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, the Road Warriors are a single move.
To me, the Road Warriors are intimidation and never selling. Which
I mean, they did a good job of not selling, and they got fucking kicked in the face. And they were like, yeah, whatever, mate. So they got that down pat.
Man, the Road Warriors are like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing, because that would never be able to fly ever again. And just like seeing Hawk and Animal just fucking deck the shit out of people and just like kill jobbers essentially. But anyway,
the Barbarian.
So the way that the Authors of Pain threw Gargano into the ring and just fucking picked him up and just sort of dropped him back into the ring, really, you know, going to show how strong they are, building up, as we use the monster heel, building up that, giving them credibility. And Akam taking Ciampa's chops and slaps and just like not being phased by them, and
they definitely fill a niche that's needed.
Yeah, and especially for like a tag team division where it's just like you have the Wyatt family, but they have, you know, they're very different entities in the fact. But yeah, so I will say, however, that DIY Johnny Gargano. Johnny's flailing in the corner was just fucking awful towards the end of the match. It just looked horrible. But this whole match, I'm not going to say it was the greatest, but something that did make it a little bit cooler was how the Authors of Pain broke out of the submission, the double submission that was going on, which was one of them just I forget which one, but he picked up, I think it was Gargano, I'm not sure, I might be wrong, or maybe Ciampa, I can't remember.
I can't tell apart.
I just remember picking it up and then throwing him on the other member of DIY, and that's how you get out of the submission. You just pick up one of them and throw them on the other, and then you fucking just, you know, essentially double powerbomb them. I forget what they were calling the move, but the double powerbomb where you connect, you essentially tap with them mid powerbomb, and then you just throw them separate ways onto the mat, and that's how they got the pin to become the NXT Tag Champs. I'm fine with them being tag champs, and I hope they have a decent run that would bring a much needed. It provides people the ability to chase after the tag titles and the ability to try and build themselves and establish themselves by going up against these
it's
monster
fun
heels.
seeing a face be like, I'm fucking coming for you.
And
As opposed to just, I'm the champion. Well, you guys that want to kill me are assholes, even though you're just doing your job.
I feel like, especially by having Paul Ellering, their manager, just do all of their talking and just have them as essentially. I mean, this is just in terms of kayfabe, but having them as pretty much the witless muscle that just do what he says, and
I feel like Paul Ellering is just he's ghostwriting for him.
But after that match, we had Seth Rollins come out, and he called out Triple H, and he was
He just came out.
he just came out to the ring, just started talking shit about Triple H, refused to leave, and then Triple H came out, and he got security to take him out of the arena.
I've never seen a member of Shield be dragged up by security before.
And I don't know, this is obviously building to something, whether or not WrestleMania, or whether or not...
Battle of the shitty fucking pedigrees.
Whether or not, like, in the Rumble, like, Seth Rollins is doing good, and then it's like, you hear, it's time to play the game, and then fucking Triple H comes out and fucks up his chances in the Rumble somehow. I'm not sure, but there definitely will be a comeuppance to Seth Rollins in some way.
Unless it's just like, this is how he's going to get back into Shield.
And,
look, guys, I hate Authority now. It's cool, right?
And of course the crowd had the "We Want Rollins" chant, which is
for no real reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird that the NXT crowd, who are usually so divisive about the main roster and like their independence quite heavily, were chanting for Rollins. Although he had, he was popular in NXT when he was down there, but it's weird that even though they would hate him on the main roster.
What if Triple H just fires him from WWE? And that's what it's building to, his glorious return back to NXT.
Back down you go.
Have fun down there.
But yeah, so we had the Fatal 4-Way match coming up next. The women's Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Women's Championship. We had Nikki Cross versus Peyton Royce versus Billie Kay versus Asuka.
I just noticed that she's the second UK person to be like, yeah, my gimmick is all being about Christianity and shit.
So Peyton Ross and Billie Kay, also known as the Bogan Bitches, from Australia.
Yeah, the Bogan Bitches.
That's fucking...
All the asshole bitch skate cunts.
Yeah, well, exactly. I immediately hate them, and their voice is extremely grating to me, and I'm someone that has the same fucking accent. So
yeah, but in Australia, they're a very specific type of person.
A little bit of law for you guys. Go ahead, Jesse.
So in Australia, those particular type of people, they're the kind of people that everyone else hates the guts out of.
It's true.
Like, they're the kind of women that will just start punching.
It's very true. They're the kind of people that will start pulling hair on other women on the train. It's just...
They're just like the trashiest fucking people on the planet. They all have like children at 16. Like, they're just the worst. Like, they're the bottom rung of society.
So yeah, a little bit of lingo for you non-Australians. Bogan is essentially our word for redneck, or it's not even like when people say redneck as someone who enjoys their cars and all that stuff. A bogan is somebody that is on the bottom rung of society.
Uneducated, on the dole.
Also the dole,
violent.
because I know that the dole, it's welfare. It's a welfare program
I don't
where...
even know what the dole is.
So like, just having been in North America for a while, the dole is a welfare program where every fortnight you're entitled to get some money. And what the bogan does is they use their uneducation to have many children, and they think that the world is out to get them. They get ludicrously drunk, and they spend all their welfare money on the cheapest...
It's cask wine, they take the cask wine out of the box, so it's just a silver bag of booze.
And sometimes they hang it up on the clothesline.
Yeah, hang it up on the clothesline, so when they're hanging out of the washing, they can have a nice sip of goon.
because when you're doing basic housework, it's apparently so strenuous that you need to reward yourself.
It's
But
very important to be buzzed all the time.
so that's what a bogan is. That's that kind of person. And these Peyton Royce and
Even though
Billy
we kind
Kay.
of celebrate bogans in Australia too.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. If you're a bogan and you're a legend, you can. Australian identity is very difficult to like classify to some people, but there's a
Poppy syndrome dictates that if you're a bogan and you accept you're a bogan, you're cool. But if you're a bogan and pretend you're not, you're a fucking asshole.
yeah, no, it's very much a know your place kind of situation. Like don't climb above the ladder that you're supposed to be.
It's like a caste system, except it's self-imposed.
So anyway, this was a fatal four-way match, and unlike Eric Young's match earlier in the night, Nikki Cross didn't have the rest of Sanity there,
No.
which kind of gave her more legitimacy in the match. And I think it was when we were watching
She
it.
didn't need the rest of Sandy there.
Yeah, you were saying that you were impressed with her,
Yeah, she was keeping up with Asuka.
and that is notoriously difficult to do. With Peyton Royce and Billy Kay forming one brain between them and forming one wrestler's talent between them.
Even the way they like did their fake acting in the ring, and it just made me angry because I've seen that exact shit in like high school where they're doing like a school like acting thing.
Yeah.
And it's like I fucking hate you.
There is a very special kind of heat that the Bogan bitches will get from an Australian audience.
Well, they'll love them. Depends if they're bogan bitches themselves.
I will say that the Bogan bitches were punching bags for most of the match. They were just getting the shit kicked out of them, and
they're kind of like the shittiest version of the Bushwhackers.
the match was more between Nikki Cross and Asuka with interference by the Bogan
two
bitches.
actual wrestlers.
The Peyton and Billy then they got Nikki out of the ring, and here's another bit of that logic where there was no 10 count whatsoever. But whatever. We'll say that the ref was incredibly
It's fine.
distracted.
There's no 10 counts in the Fatal 4-Way. For some reason.
And they threw Nikki Cross through the table near the announcer table, but unfortunately, once again, the camera work was awful, and that going through that table looked weak.
It was shooting up at the table, so maybe like trash.
And it got it was perfect. It was a cinema way of trying to get the audience in to understand the art, because it's a trash viewing and then it looks up and it shows Peyton Royce and Billy Kay, and it's just like, do you understand the metaphor, audience? But
there was a bit where Asuka was trying to be pulled off the ropes by the two Bogan bitches, and then she managed to double suplex them.
Yeah. So definitely there were a lot of cool things in this match, and this was definitely one of the better matches, if not. I'll go back and forward between. No, I'll say that the final match was better just because the Bogan bitches. Yeah. If it was Nikki Cross versus Asuka, which I would really like to see now, having seen this,
it would be TNA quality.
Yeah. And Asuka had a cool way to get out of that pin. How it was like very unique. How she just arched up the back and sort of.
It was a Iska combo.
Yeah.
Just like an arch your back up.
But yeah, so after kicking the heads off the Bogan bitches, essentially, she then pinned and retained her NXT Women's Championship.
Well deserved.
Yeah, so who knows? Asuka might be on her way to holding the NXT Women's Championship the longest. First of all, the next match was just great in itself. It was like fucking amazing. Like just the entrances alone. Like we have Bobby Roode come out in his Ric Flair style, almost, with women on all his arms just like stretching.
There was 4 women on each arm.
And having the glorious theme blared and sung by everyone in the audience.
It was lasting almost as long as Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
So basically, I feel like both of them were like, I wonder who can do a longer entrance. And they were like taking inspiration from, I'll use the length of Triple H's entrance, but I'll use the movement of the Undertaker's. So it's just like...
the ultimate.
Exactly. just
then
off,
Shinsuke comes out,
off
fucking
topic.
gliding on a fucking on a cloud.
Off topic. Do you remember how we had Hunter Hearst Helmsley versus DX Triple H with the modern Triple H versus the Undertaker Retro versus the American Badass.
New Age Outlaw.
Yeah, and then the modern Undertaker. And so we had like 6 extremely long entrances.
It was like 10 minutes of just entrance.
But
All right, now the wrestling begins, and no one knows how to play this game.
But yeah, fucking great intros. I really like them.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be
WrestleMania quality intros.
definitely. And there was an even split in terms of who the crowd wanted to win, because there were Nakamura chants and then there were Bobby Roode chants. Everyone was really excited, and this match, it had
It was
that.
an exciting match to finally see that.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those star quality matches when you're just like, I want to see this because of the 2 participants. Bobby Roode's early rope breaks in the match were great. How he would go and he would try and start something.
He's trying to like piss off Shinsuke, and I'm sorry they makes a mistake.
Yeah, and it was also like getting the crowd annoyed because they wanted after the entrances, they're like, start the match.
Yeah, just fucking go. He's like, nope.
Oh, man. But, yeah, there was definitely something that I made the comment of, a lot of storytelling in this match, because there was like, ever since Shinsuke fell off and he hit his head, there was a lot of like moves to the head and a lot of moves being done. And I really like the fact that Bobby Roode would take the time to like lay in and make sure to hurt his head after seeing him hurt it, and then the same thing again when Shinsuke hurt his knee jumping onto Bobby and hitting the floor. Something that I've got to talk about is, what the fuck? I don't remember who it was, probably Corey Graves on announcing, who was just like, he's charging his Nakamura.
Yeah, he's charging up his Nakamura.
I'm like, what? What are you... Just don't...
Well, it's because he was Shinsukeing out, and I think he was getting ready to do his, like, finish or his signature.
And I was just like...
He's charging his Nakamura! I think he was fucking up the name a lot. Like,
yeah.
He would say that, like, Nakamura is versing Shinsuke.
Yeah.
And that he's fucking up the fucking guy's name and replacing Bobby Roode's name with his name quite a lot during the match.
Yeah. And this match was a delight to watch. Both had lots of charisma, so it was fun to watch them and their interactions with one another. Really good. Bobby Roode notices that when Shinsuke hurt his knee, first I should say, after hurting his knee, he didn't care, and he tried to do his usual finisher, and he used his hurt knee to do it. And so then he fell on the ground, was unable to capitalize on, essentially, according to the storytelling, knocking out Bobby Roode.
Yeah, he was down for a good, like, I don't know, 20 seconds or so.
Yeah, and we had the medical team come out and they tried to address Shinsuke's leg, and they tried to make it extremely serious looking, so that when Bobby Roode did come and immediately start applying the half Boston Crab on Shinsuke's leg and then repeatedly punching him in the knee while that's happening.
Yeah.
As you were saying, if you want to show anyone what it's like to be a heel wrestler, just watch this match with Bobby Roode right there.
Yeah, just a 5-second thing of him just like putting the guy in the move, and it's like punch his legs and more, just to make sure.
And after trying to fight him off with his other leg, being unable to do so, he eventually gets pinned by Bobby Roode, and Bobby Roode becomes the next NXT champion. What did you think of the match?
I thought it was glorious, too.
Oh, fuck. Well, you and Corey Graves both, because I think that's the only word in his vocabulary.
Yeah, he was very excited about Bobby Roode winning. In fact, he wouldn't shut up for a good 5 minutes.
And we get it. We understand what it's like for, like, commentators. Obviously, you want to have a color commentator and a play-by-play, but, I mean, you at least need to switch it up a little bit.
That entire commentator team is terrible. It's just that Corey Graves talks the most, so he gets the most shit.
Yeah.
Like, they're all fucking terrible to each other.
I feel like that was the match of the night. Bobby Roode versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, definitely, as it should be too.
Yeah, and that was the main event. Crowd was definitely into it. Really good. I'm interested to see where this goes now. I have had a thought. With the Royal Rumble coming up and Shinsuke not having the title anymore, since he's won the title, he is eligible to have gone up to the main roster. And since he doesn't have that title anymore, unless he wants to have a rematch with Bobby Roode, which he could easily enter the Royal Rumble.
Yes, I would be excited to see an Shinsuke versus AJ Styles match.
Oh man, wouldn't that just be something?
It was very good to see the crowd as rambunctious as they were, actually giving a shit about all the matches. There was one they were a bit quiet for, but I think that was like a shitty match anyway. The matches themselves were fucking. Even the shittiest one was pretty good still.
Yeah.
The tag match. Then
as
for Royal Rumble,
do you view the tag match as the shittiest match? Because personally, I was gonna say it was Eric Young versus Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10.
I have a bit of a soft spot for Eric Young, but I guess. Because Ty Dillinger just wasn't bringing much to the table. I feel like the fucking Authors of Pain, surprisingly actually sold that tag match to me.
Yeah.
Which is quite amazing. Shows how much a good manager can do.
Yeah.
They should have more of those. Take note. As far as Royal Rumble goes, it would be interesting to see someone make an appearance. I mean, I don't personally see it being likely. I feel like they should keep the NXT nice and strong and nice and pure as it is.
Okay.
Because they have a very good roster going. I would say arguably better than WWE's roster at the moment.
Yeah.
Just because they've broken it up so you can't fucking see all the matches you want to.
And very much like two people alone. If you had Asuka and Shinsuke, and then you try and stack them, it's like, okay, well, who do we have on Raw? And it's like, well, we have Kevin Owens on Raw. And it's like, well, we have AJ on SmackDown. It's like...
All I can think of is, maybe they could make some new event or, NXT, invades the WWE.
Potentially. Look what I can...
They're sacrificing their Raws and their SmackDowns to make the pay-per-views more special, which I guess I can get behind. Kind of like falsely inflating them though,
and
or whatever.
The last note, which I'll end on, because that we've talked about everything in regards to the NXT TakeOver San Antonio. The last thing I'll end this on is, considering the Royal Rumble is so close, the three main people that I have no idea is Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, and The Undertaker.
Oh man.
That I know, right?
Final three.
Yeah, I'm just like, ooh, that for the first time in years, there's no person that I'm like, oh yeah, well, it'd be smart for this person to win, so I can see them going in this direction.
I mean, you kind of want Goldberg to win just because you want to see it happen.
Yeah. I agree with that, but at the same
But
time...
The Undertaker is The Undertaker, and Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar.
And that's just it. So, I guess we'll have to see, because only time will tell. I'm really excited for the Royal Rumble, and NXT TakeOver San Antonio, it was great. It was great. So
I'm so glad all these old men are still wrestling.
And surprisingly, Undertaker, even though he did have a career before the WWF, he's essentially homegrown as the Undertaker persona in the WWE.
But again, that persona can never be repeated because it's so ridiculous.
Exactly. We'll never get to that.
He's like a legacy character right now. So we know it's dumb, but everyone likes him.
Yeah, we have this guy's an MMA fighter. This guy is a well-renowned wrestler who is famous for beating people extremely quickly, and this guy is a necromancer / possible walking corpse.
That drains the souls of everyone he beats. Only at WrestleMania pay-per-views though.
The only person I think that comes close in terms of like their gimmick is like Bray Wyatt, and even then he's in this still realm of believability because you might believe
he's just been leader of a cult. Doesn't mean anything he says is true.
exactly, and it's just like maybe I could theorize that there would be something like this in the swamps of Louisiana, deep in the South. Maybe.
I mean, have you played Resident Evil 7?
Well, I didn't realize that Bray Wyatt was making his video game appearances like spread out, but that would be interesting. Like the mod with just all the Wyatt members, like the Wyatt family.
That'd be so fucking stupid. Oh my god.
Welcome to the family, boy.
Oh god.
Anyway, guys, thank you for listening to this. This has been our review of NXT San Antonio. And so I hope you guys liked it, and I'm excited for the Royal Rumble.
4 out of 10.